zones, and Y, and then at the end, modifiers and quantities. That's a little bit different from everything that we've done before. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is the purpose, and then we're going to go for organization. So they are there's an abbreviation for Healthcare Common Procedure Coding System. Just understand that Healthcare Common Procedures Coding System, or HCPCS, it's pronounced HCPCS, or we want to pronounce it like that. It is the two that already know. We know there's HCPCS level 1, HCPCS level 2. So HCPCS level 1 is what we know as current procedure terminology, or the CPTs. So every time we talk about CPT, we're talking about HCPCS level 1. But in the practice, we don't use HCPCS level 1 that much, as a word that has to do with CPT. So for CPTs, we say CPT. For HCPCS level 2, we call them HCPCS. Okay, so just know that little difference. Whenever we say HCPCS level 2 is the actual HCPCS, and if we say HCPCS level 1, we're talking about CPTs. So again, most of the codes that we're going to use are going to be the CPTs, or HCPCS level 1, and the rest is going to be anything that does not have to do with a procedure. So DME, durable medical equipment. Again, this stands for DME, durable medical equipment. Crutches, wheelchairs, diabetic shoes, inserts, some beds, anything that is not a medication and that will go away immediately. Those things that last, then they're going to be durable, and they're going to be medical equipment. Orthotics, prosthetics, anything that is not a procedure will be in HCPCS level 2. And again, just two levels of the HCPCS for now. You need to know. So describe the HCPCS level 2 coded system. Remember, CPT is level 1, ICD and ICD have nothing to do with this, so we call them the national codes. Okay, so HCPCS level 2 national codes for things that are not procedures. Now let's do a few definitions. Definition number 1. Durable medical equipment, or DME, is equipment that can withstand repeated use and its primary use to serve a medical purpose. It is to give to the patient, so it's something that the patient will take home. It's something that the patient will wear, artificial limbs, braces, or something that is given to them for whatever their condition is, like medication, surgical dressing, and again, wheelchairs. Now, most of them are going to be divided into prosthetics, orthotics, and supplies, and those are going to be given by specific DME contractors. So if you go to a pharmacy that sells medical equipment, then they're going to be DME CMS medical contractor. So glucose monitor test and strips, all of those are going to be included. So we say orthotics and prosthetics. Orthotics is the orthopedic device, and then prosthetics is something that is the protection of artificial body part. So prosthetic is like a artificial leg, for example. Orthotics is something that goes into shoes, for example, inserts for diabetic shoes. Those are
Se conectaron allí. Vale, va a entrar aquí. Va a entrar aquí.
¿Ya?
No, va a entrar aquí. ¿No estás con contraseña o algo?
Let's do this. Anesthesia will be a CPT code. Okay, remember, anesthesia is gonna be the second chapter. So the first chapter is the 99s, the second chapter is the 00s, and it has 5 digits. That is not a HCPCS level 2, that is a CPT, that is a HCPCS level 1. Diagnosis and conditions is going to be the ICM, so that's not a HCPCS code. I'm going to jump to medical.
Se volvió a conectar. A lo tuyo ahí.
Are going to be the 4 types. So type number 1 will be permanent national codes. Number 2 will be miscellaneous codes, temporary codes, and modifiers. Again, we saw a few of them yesterday, how the codes were there, and it tells you when they started, if they are still in effect, and when, if they did go out of commission, when. Then we'll go to the miscellaneous codes. Temporary codes are the ones that we're gonna be using just in case some emerging technology appears. The example that I gave you, it was things that came through COVID. So instead of saying, "Hey, we don't have a code for that. Let's let everyone die," or just give them medication and not charge for it, then we have some codes for that, and they call them temporary codes. They're gonna stay for a little bit, and then they can pass to the permanent codes, or they can just go away. And then the modifiers, we show you a list of the modifiers yesterday. They are alphanumeric 2-digit codes that go after the HCPCS or the CPT to modify payment. Okay, either to make it pay more, usually double, or to pay less just because something happened in between, just like before. But here you're going to see that each specific one will have, again, just a definition. Kind of the same way as before. It includes the index, the tables, and codes and descriptions. In the CPT or HCPCS level 1, we said I had the index, and we've had tables. The tables were the cancer and drugs and chemicals. Here is just a table of drugs. In this case, it's not that you're doing that as a way to get all the medications and all the codes together. And then the codes and description, what the code is and what the description is. How are you going to use it? So let's show modifiers. Again, we show you a few of the modifiers. Remember, if you have a modifier 50, then you can modify right and left. 50 means bilateral. So if I'm doing bilateral, I put a 50. If I'm doing only right or only left, then I do left or right. So this is kind of a little note here that if you are doing something, if you're billing for something that has bilateral or left or right, you should know that. So the example is I'm doing an X-ray on the patient's knees, for example. If I do the X-ray and then I put modifier 50, then that means that I did it in both sides of the body. So I don't need to put right, and left. So I need to put two modifiers, just one that does both. But you will always need a modifier for that. Perfect example, if you knee, which one, right or left? Well, RT for right, LT for left. And again, simple things that you can remember and you can apply for every single thing that is bilateral. Remember, not everything is bilateral, but bilateral doesn't mean twice. Bilateral means both sides of the body. So if you're doing something in both sides of the body, you can say that it's two different parts of the body that are symmetrical, that we have both parts in left and right, then you could do modifier 50. If not, then RT and LT. And again, a few examples here. I want to point out, like I did last time, that some are gonna be letters only. Some are gonna be a combination of letters and numbers, or they could be numbers only. A few examples here. Anesthesia services performed by anesthesiologists, AA, AD, medical supervision for more than 4 concurrent anesthesia procedures. So again, that will pay more. That will pay more because the supervision or the procedure was done more than 4 times. So now we have to pay more. And then here, I1 and I2, so E1 and E2, E3 and 4, we're talking about upper and lower eyelids. 1 and 2 are going to be for the left, and then 3 and 4 are going to be for the right. So 1 upper left eyelid, E2 lower left eyelid, and again LT, RT for right and left or left. Simple, kind of not a lot of extra information there. They're gonna just give or modify that code a little bit, so we understand now. The people that are reading this code, this bill that you're sending, understand what you're doing. So just like in the HCPCS level 1 or the CPT, they have an alphabetical index. So super simple. You go to the book, you go to the index, and you read you get the terms, the most important terms, and you look up them through that index in alphabetical order. So you just go like any other dictionary, like any other book that has an index. You go through the alphabet and you get your codes. You get your main terms, and the main term is going to be accompanied by the code. Then you look for that code real quick in the book, and then you make sure that it's the correct one. Table of drugs. So in this case, it's different from the tables for like I was saying, the tables for in the ICD, we have tables for cancer and for medications or chemicals. In the ICDs for a diagnosis. So did you took this medication on purpose? Did you took it by accident? Did someone force you? Here it's none of that. It's what the medication is. Okay, what the medication is, how much you gave the patient, and if we have any brand name, generics, stuff like that. So it's easier to get to that information in a table, because again, we have different components or different things that you need to look, and then in a table setting will look a little bit better. So again, alphabetical order in the table, just like what we saw in the ICD 10. So one of the easiest ways to check is alphabetical. Everything is in alphabetical order for the section, and then in the section in chronological order. Again, some of the tricks that you could do, anything that has to do with radiology is going to be an R, and anything that's going to be there's 2 more. I'm going to show you now. Dental, there you go. Dental is here. Dental D codes and stuff like that. So there's some that just, it's whatever next letter came out. So you need to be aware and know a little bit of how they work. I don't want you memorizing here in this part, the codes, ICD, CPT, and HCPCS. I don't want you memorizing codes. That's not gonna do any good for you for the exam. What's gonna do good for you is understand and learn definitions. Now, as you go and work for a doctor's office, for a clinic, for a hospital, because you're going to be using the same codes over and over again, then yes, for that, at that time, yes, you can memorize the 10 codes that you use the most. But right now, there's no need to memorize them. Most of the things that we do here are uh, looking through the book, so it's easy or easier. So now, same thing. Depends on what book you use. You will have between 6 and 8 steps. This book has the smaller steps, and I love that it's only 6 steps. And it starts with review the patient record. So again, some books will say, "Well, read the whole book and read the guidelines." No, let's go. Review the patient record, check the procedure that is performed or the service that is performed, look that main term in the index of the HECPICS level 2, if it's HECPIC level 2, and then go what the code is. So you get the word, from the word, you get the code. Now you go to that code because sometimes it's arranged, sometimes it's more than one. Go to the code, to the section, check the codes, one up, one down always, to see that you actually got the one. Review if there's any other modifiers that go with that, and then apply or assign the code and the modifiers. So one of the examples, let me see if I can do this this way. I'll show you um, I will show you in the web page. So documentation, and this is something that you need to understand. Who who prepares the claim, who gets a claim, and then who decides what has to happen. So again, you're gonna create the claims, you the provider or medical biller for that provider. Again, most of the time, it's gonna be you're gonna be responsible for the whole thing, and if you're responsible for the whole thing, even better. So um, you can just say, hey, this is what I saw, and this is what I've been doing in the past. But how do you know that? Well, you do it by knowing what the MAC or medical administrative contractor needs, because they're the first that are gonna get it. Okay. And they're gonna get it for Medicare Part A and Medicare Part B. We're gonna talk about that later, what the definitions are. What was that? Where did my screen go? I think you should be able to see my screen again. I don't know what happened there. So DME, Max will get for Medicare Part A and Part B. Oh, I know what happened, no? And then DME for Mac will be through another section. CMS will just make sure that we have a small number of DME Macs to process all the claims, so we can reduce fraud. So they are the ones that are checking for that all the time. So one of the things that they will need is give the information or the documentation for it. So a physician, again, we go to the example. The example says a physician treats a Medicare patient fracture left ankle in the office and supplies the patient with crutches. 2 claims are generated. One for the treatment of the fracture, that's going to be sent to the MAC for the Medicare Part B. Outpatient is B, inpatient is A, so Medicare Part B, and then the crutches will be sent to the DME MAC, separated from the other ones. They are going to be more specialized in it, and they'll be able to do it better. Thing that you need for that is documentation. Crutches will require some type of documentation, usually two forms of documentation. One will be the doctor notes with what happened, what was the subjective, objective, the assessment and the plan in a SOAP note. and a second radiology report stating that the patient has a fracture. Okay, so with two most of the documentation, we can say, okay, so the patient needed both things, the treatment and those crutches, and they can get paid. Now, everything requires documentation like that, but most of the time they do. So these are the max for DMEs. Basically, they were divided into the south, the north, and then we have middle and east. So west east kind of combined here, uh, and then they separate them. So now we have this big area. If you kind of think about it, 3 locations here in a little bit less than half of the U.S. Again, the population here is a lot more. So that's how it works. We're kind of lucky that we could do it, and it works pretty good. A lot of the offices are local to us, so that's kind of interesting. So every single thing that we give to a patient, service, procedure, medication, DME, crutches, anything that we bill, will be checked for medical necessity. Okay? Every single thing. So because of that, you need two things to get something paid. You need CPT that matches an ICD. Or you need, in other words, an ICD and then the CPT. But the way that we get the ICD could be by evaluation and management, and that is a CPT. So it doesn't matter how you see it, a CPT that produces an ICD or an ICD that is followed by that CPT. Really doesn't matter. A diagnosis and a procedure. You need those two things. And because every single procedure that you do, it needs its medical necessity, then we need to figure out how are we documenting those things. So every single claim, for every single claim to be paid, the diagnosis, reporting the claim have to link to to the procedure. Okay. If they do not match, there's no payment. I saw the patient for a fracture, and I don't have an X-ray. They don't match. There's no way I can prove that that patient has a fracture. So no payment. So for a visit, there's not a lot of documentation that we need. Maybe we want the MAC or the insurance company will require documentation. That could be a simple doctor's note. This is the patient was here, and this is what we did. That's the documentation. But the more complicated the things are, or the more expensive things are, then the more documentation we need. So that means that we're gonna send documentation with the claim, so we can actually get it paid faster. One of the things that is different is that you need a letter. Okay? So it's called a DME letter, and the doctor has to actually state, not as a prescription, a document that says certifying that is, in their opinion, this patient needs whatever, a wheelchair. Okay, then the bill, then a patient's signature for it, and the signature for the advanced beneficiary notice of non-payment. In this case, we see it here as ABN. It's advanced beneficiary notice. Advanced because you're giving it before you send the claim, before you do the procedure. Beneficiary is a word that we use for Medicare patients. So Medicare recipients are called beneficiaries to Medicare. If you had a private insurance, you will be a client. If you are a doctor, then you have a patient. So the patient to the individual to the doctor, he is or she is a patient. The individual to private insurance, they're gonna be clients, okay, or enrollees, or but not patients. And then for Medicare, they are receiving Medicare, so they are beneficiaries of Medicare. So they're called Medicare beneficiaries. So advanced beneficiary notice is a document that the Medicare recipient signs in advance as a notice of non-payment. Okay, it's a waiver signed by the patient if medical necessity is not established or not accepted by Medicare, administrative contractor, or MAC, then the patient is responsible for payment. 100% of the time in the last 8 years, 100% of the students have gotten a question that has to do with advanced beneficiary notice of non-payment. And 100% of the time, the question sounds like this. If a patient signed or a beneficiary signed the advanced beneficiary notice and Medicare denies payment because the services were not covered, who you bill, what can you do? Can you resubmit? Can you appeal, bill the patient, or something else? And it's always bill the patient, okay? If the patient signed the advanced beneficiary notice, you can, by law, charge or do a claim to the patient. You owe me this money, so the patient has to pay. So you might think, well, Medicare patients don't pay or whatever. You have to take that out of your common knowledge. Medicare patients have around $150 of deductible every year. Plus, they have a bunch of things that are non-covered, so that they have to pay for that. So you have to be careful with that question, because that question is, always there, and they write it in a way that you might think, nah, the patient doesn't have to pay, but it's always the answer for a advanced beneficiary notice signed by patient is that the patient has to pay if Medicare does not cover it. Do we got that one? Do we understand that one? Are we good? Where's my chat? Where's my people? Where's my chat?
Yeah, I understand that one. I know. I remember you said that before. If you have to bill the patient when it comes to that, when Medicare denies it. That's one thing for sure. I remember.
But Medicare denies it after it's but they have to sign that. So if they do not sign, if you don't make the patient sign the advanced beneficiary notice, then you just lost the money.
The patient must sign in order for you to bill them.
Have to, correct. And in the CMS 1500 form, there's a little box that asks, did the patient sign it or not? Okay. Okay, good. Let's see. Do we got anybody else? Got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Oh, there you go. Andrea's here. I haven't seen Andrea. Let's see. Let's go. Excellent. We're just missing one. Excellent, my people. Excellent. Okay. So continue with this one. So in order to be someone that dealer of DME, so someone that is selling those, is giving that, you have to have, and this is the problem with what is the name that they have to sign? The name of the paper that they have to sign is Advanced Beneficiary Notice. It's this document here on the bottom. It's called Advanced Beneficiary Notice of Non-Coverage or Non-Payment.
So that's what it's called? Is that what the member have to sign, the advanced beneficiary?
Yes. Advanced Beneficiary Notice. That's what it's called. So we'll see it when we get to the forms also. But again, it's not saying non-coverage here. It just says advanced beneficiary notice. And the question might not say advanced beneficiary notice. The question, of non-coverage. The two last words are the words that make you remember. Advanced beneficiary notice of non-coverage. So at that point, you are like, okay, Medicare's not going to pay. If anything happens, the patient can pay. Or we can bill the patient. Okay. That's it, money. Already say yes. Okay, so the requirements. Certification from the doctor. Okay, there has to be a letter stating, a letter or a prescription saying this patient is in need of this procedure or this crutches, wheelchair, whatever it is. And at that point, then the determination will be done by the max. Okay, so they're gonna do a few things. So check the criteria, check the payment rules, and check the documentation. It is a process. It is a complicated process. It takes a really good a facility that is doing this a lot to get it right. Facilities that are starting and trying to do this usually get a lot of denials. They get discouraged and they don't do it anymore. To give you an example, a podiatrist can give diabetic shoes and inserts. Medicare patients get 2 pairs of shoes. Don't quote me on it. Either 1 or 2 pairs of shoes and 6. I want to say 6. 3 to 6 pairs of inserts per year. Okay, and they have to go to a podiatrist. They have to get fitted. It's a bunch of things, and all these documents, all these things have to go in a letter to Medicare first with the prescription, with the notes, and then it comes an approval. But then the shoes take forever to be done. So you do it kind of at the same time, and then either you get paid or not. And then, just so you know, a really basic pair of shoes and 3 sets of inserts could be in the $500 to $600 per patient per set. So in a doctor's office, go through the process of doing it, and again, they have to do the new ones are going to scan the patient's feet, but the other is to do a mold, send the mold to the lab. Like it's a process. It's a lot of time, effort, and then money that you might not get back. Okay, so it's something that you have to think before you dabble into things like this. So a lot of specific criteria for specific things. Don't matter that much. Okay, here, perfect. So now, another thing that I said before is that sometimes you're gonna have both, and usually you have both. You can have a CPT by itself if you are a doctor or work for a doctor's office. You could have a HCPCS level 2 by itself if you are the medical equipment pharmacy or supplier, or you can have both. How can you have both? Well, you have a procedure that is given a visit or a procedure given by the doctor, plus something that is in the HCPCS level 2 codes. Perfect example is the first one, an IM intramuscular injection for a patient, and then the code for the CPT injection is going to be in the medical section, and then the HCPCS level 2 in the table of medications, you have the actual medication. So the medication is not a procedure. The procedure is to inject the medication. So you get CPT for the injection, and then a HCPCS level 2 to know what medication is the one that we gave, and then how many units, and then that's where the price comes from. Anyone? Anyone has anything to say? I don't sound like a baby. Okay, so simple. We give you the injection. The actual giving you the injection is a procedure. The medication itself, the amount of medication, is not a procedure. It's going to be a HCPCS level 2. So the procedure, CPT, in the medical portion of it, and then in a table with medications, you have the level 2. Okay, and it's going to be a HCPCS. And then modifier for both. Remember, modifier for both. So let's say I do an injection twice. They're going to be modifiers. If I give more medication than was required or less, modifier for level 2. Let me see if I can read this one properly. Okay. Second example, an opt-out physician complete an emergency developmental screening, scoring documentation using standardized instrument. Again, a bunch of information. It really doesn't matter now. It's a CPT code for the actual developmental screening. Okay, and that's when you you take your baby to the pediatrician. They're gonna say, okay, can it sit? Can it talk? Can it grasp? Do they stand? Do they walk? And then you start asking those things. How many words? And then if they are 2 years old, then how many words should they talk? If they are 4 years old, how many words? How many sentences? Stuff like that. So they use standardized instruments. It has a bunch of questions. All of that is a lot of information that is important, but not really. At the end, what we say is that the baby or the individual, okay, had emergency developmental screening with a standard instrument. Okay, but here it says something that you will not find in that part. It will say opt out. Okay, so when you look for the 96110, it will tell you emergency developmental screening with scoring of the documentation using and standardized instrument. That's exactly what it's going to tell you. And this is a description: developmental screening, yada yada yada, with a scoring using a standardized instrument. Exactly what it says on the top, exactly what it says on the bottom. The only word that is not there is up, out. Okay, so you got like, what is that? So now you go opt out, and that's a modifier. Okay, so the modifier is there in the bottom. And the modifier is interesting because the modifier also has the physician or practitioner. So physician and emergency. That one was not included. So you have physician, then an emergency, also opt-out physician, emergency. That's that part is the modifier. So you always have to check for those things. And usually when you go to this code, the code will tell you, hey, look at these modifiers, they might need it. And again, that's how you're gonna get it. Computer's gonna say, hey, if you select this one, these are options of the modifiers that we can use. I mean, it could be 1, 2, 10, and then you check which ones you can use, or if you don't have to use it, then if this example said this, a physician only without the opt-out, then we do not need the modifier here at the bottom. Yes, no, maybe, simple, complicated. Are you getting it?
I'm not really understanding what you mean by opt-out physician, by the word opt-out.
That's an example. You could say anything else. So what I'm saying is that if you go, and this one says, for example, without explaining exactly what it is, that you can go word by word, right? So let's do this. So you go for yes, that is complicated. It says developmental screening. But what is it? Okay, let me ask you the question. What is the main terms in this example? So let's forget about everything else. Focus on this section. Okay. It says opt-out physician completed an emergency developmental screening with a scoring documentation using a standardized instrument. So now we need to start understanding what is it. What is the most important words there?
Physician, emergency, developmental screening.
So that's the most important. Developmental screening. Okay. Let me read it. I'm gonna read it another way. Doctor completed an emergency X-ray.
So the X-ray is the CPT.
So X-ray is the important part, right?
Yes.
Let's read it again. Physician completed an emergency defibrillation. Physician completed an emergency tracheostomy.
Okay.
You see? And then, why is that important? Because that's the most important. Jesus Christ, my God. Why is that the most important thing? Because that will be the CPT.
Right.
And then you know that it says with something. Okay?
Okay.
So when it says with something, that is not going to be the main term. That is something that is sub or added to the term. So basically, you will go to the index and you will look for developmental screening. Okay? And if you go to the index, in the index, it will say developmental screening. And then it will give you examples. Example, developmental milestone survey, speech and language delay screen. Okay? And then it says, with scoring and documentation. Okay? Scoring and documentation using a standardized instrument. And the bottom says, with scoring and documentation using a standardized instrument. So
so that's what the 96 one. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So that's that one. Correct. You're right. That's the number.
Okay. So
Perfect.
that code represents all of that.
All of that.
Developmental screening with scoring document. Okay.
Correct. Correct. Okay. The words that you haven't seen, I'm gonna do it in a different color. Are gonna be this first part. This first part is not included in what you just said. What we just read.
Okay.
Okay. So now, the 96.110, it will tell you, hey, check modifiers, and it will kind of guide you to the modifiers that you have. And then when you go to the modifiers, look, there's one that's opt-out. Okay. So now you have the word opt-out. Then it says physician or practitioner. In this case, well, physician. Okay, you have the word physician. And then it says emergency. So emergency. Okay. So you have the same words. Okay. And now when you take out all the crap that is, that is not there, then what words are not there? What are the only few words that are not included in that? And completed. That's it. The and. So those are parts of speech. That's not like.
Gotcha.
So everything else will be included.
Okay, so for the modifier GJ, that means the opt-out physician or practitioner.
Yeah.
Okay,
correct.
I just didn't know what you meant by the word opt-out.
Again,
gotcha.
and we. So what I want you to say, if I say anything, and this is the trick here, okay? If you were to look for this code in the book, what words would you look for? And this is every time I say main terms, this is what I want you to look for. So what is the main term here? We said developmental screening. Okay?
Right.
And then with developmental screening, you get all of that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So now, wait. But now, what will be the other important terms? Well, opt-out, whatever that means.
Mm-hmm.
You can go look for that.
Okay, got it. Okay, it makes sense.
Okay. Look, and let's do the top one real quick. And again, I'm having a conversation with you, but this is for everybody else. You are the only brave one that actually asked. Okay, think about it. So what about the first one? What will be the most important? What will be the main terms?
Injection and cortisone.
Injection, okay, cortisone. That's it. That's the whole thing. Is this an injection of cortisone was administered? Okay. The word, and again, parts of speech. Was, and then the administration of it. So, injection is given. So the only thing that we don't have is the IM.
Right.
So if you look for injection, it will tell you IM, IV, sub-Q, whatever it is. So the most important words are the injection. If you go for injection, it will tell you the options. And then they will give you a specific code. And then you go to the HCPCS and look for what other word, the only word that you need to look. What is the most important term here? Cortisone. You go to cortisone, boom. You match the amount, the units, and you match that with the price, and you're done.
Okay, so cortisone would be the HCPCS, the HCPCS level 2.
Correct.
And that refers to the medicine and how much it was given for you to get the correct amount of money.
And the injection, the CPT, the actual injecting of the actual procedure.
Okay, I think I got it now.
Again, this is it's you and me having a conversation, but this is for everybody else. The main thing here is to get the main term, get the most important term. Now, if you could do it this way, it will take forever, but you could do this. You could say, you could start, let's do the first one that is super short, right? You could say, okay, you can start with the injection. You start with IM. You can go you look for that in the index. IM, intramuscular. And from there, you could go to IM and then injection. Yes. It might say IMC injection. Okay, then you go to injection. So that one will take you to that one. And then you look for injection. And then doing injection, you'll be able to go back to the IM if that's the case. Okay. And then you're going to look for cortisone. And yeah, that's it. We're done. And because we have 3 words. When you go to the bottom one, you're going to oh shit, what is this? This is a lot, right? So you can start looking word by word. If you want to do that, it will take forever, but you can. So the first thing that you look is for opt-out. You look for opt-out, and it will take you to this modifier, probably. Okay, I cannot code a modifier first. Okay? And then you go to physician. Let's say you look for physician. You look for that word. Is that a HCPCS? Is that something that it's, think about it. A HCPCS is, or a CPT code is either a procedure or a thing. Can you charge for a procedure or a thing? Yes. Now, it's a physician. Can you charge for the physician? Can you look for the index physician and it will tell you, physician, $3,000. I don't know, whatever. No, that's not a word that you're going to look for. Completed. You go to the index and you go for completed. That has nothing to do with nothing. Emergency, it might take you to all the emergency, but you're like, again, what type of emergency? Again, nope. And then you look for 3, 4, 5 words already. Now, when you get to developmental, and then on the developmental, you can see developmental screening. There you go. You got to the main term. But you already look for 3 or 4 on the index. Okay? So I want you to identify those main terms first so you can do it faster. Okay? And or with, those are parts of speech for the most part. You do not go and check for, okay, I think with is a really important word. It is, but it's not one that you're gonna be able to get from the index and follow something else. Yes? Like it. Standardized instrument. You can look for standardized instrument. But where would you look for standardized instrument? Well, again, is it a thing or is it a procedure? Standardized instrument, it's part of a thing, so that will be a HCPCS. And if you do that, then you won't get it, okay? Because the standardized instrument is part of the CPT. So if I give you a lot of time, you will be able to get it by process of elimination, checking every single word in both of the books. But it will take forever. I want you to look at the question and go like, nope, this is important, okay? And this is important. Let me put the developmental screening is evaluation and management, or it's in the part of medicine. Let me look in the CPT. The rest is something extra that is not a thing. That is a thing that is not a procedure. Let me look in the HECPICS. Yes, no, maybe. I know it's kind of complicated, but we're getting there. Again, when you do a lot of practice, you'll see that, this is simple. Okay, let's look at this one, and let's see if you really got it. I want a brave individual. What is the... no, this is not. Oh, yes, it is. Okay, let's look at the example. It says, an established patient received a level 3 E&M service in the physician's office, type 2 diabetes, controlled by insulin, was supplied with a needle-free injection device, report CPT code, HCPCS level 2. Okay, so let's do this. Let's say you don't have the codes. You don't have these two codes yet, okay? What are we going to do? What are the important words? Anyone wants to try? Let me see. Who's brave enough to put their...
Established patient is one of them.
There you go. Oh, we got one. Okay, so you said that established patient is important, right?
Yeah.
It is extremely important. What else?
Level 3.
Level 3, extremely important. What else? Diabetes, not necessarily for what we're doing now.
Physician's office.
Physician's office, really important. And what else? There's one little thing that...
Device. The needle-free injection device.
Needle-free injection, that's...
The EM, the evaluation management.
EM, thank you. The most important thing here is evaluation and management. Because with that, you know that you're going to go to the evaluation and management chapter. Okay? The rest of you were correct. Evaluation and management, it's a what? 99 code. You know that by heart already. We said that it's in the physics, so evaluation and management, we did it already. It's a 99. Physician's office. What is physician's office? 2. Outpatient. You already know that. Established patient is the next number. So it could be a 0 if it's a new patient, a 1 if it's established. That's a 1. And then it says level 3. Look, you have level 3, established patient in the physician's office. Boom. The diabetes and the insulin part is a distractor. That is extra information that you do not need for anything. I can just say, established patient received level 3 E&M service in the physician's office, and if you stop there, this is the code that is going to come out. The specific diagnosis, no, doesn't matter. Remember, in this part, CPT, we're looking for procedures. The diagnosis is not important right now. Okay? Now, it was supplied with needle-free injection device. So, let me erase all of it again. And it was supplied with, and then someone said needle-free injection device. If you go and you think, is a needle-free injection device a thing or a procedure?
It's a thing.
It's a thing, right? A thing. I don't want you to, I don't want you to use fancy words. It's a thing, okay? It's not a procedure. It's not something that we do. It's something that we give the patient. Here's a thing, okay? So because it's a thing, it's going to be a CPT or a HCPCS level 2. Anyone? Remember, CPT,
it's level 2.
Level 2. CPT procedures. Level 2 things. That's the easiest way you can think about it. a thing. An ambulance ride, a thing. A wheelchair, a thing. Diabetic shoes, a thing. Injection, a thing. The actual device, the needle and the thing. A medication, a thing. Injecting you the medication, a procedure. Doing the evaluation, a procedure. Doing surgery, procedure. Performing a X-ray, a procedure. So, established patient receive a level 3 E and M service in the physician's office. It is a 99213. And the needle-free injection device. So, how would you look for needle-free injection device in the index? Just like that, needle-free injection device. You will go to the index and you will look for needle-free, and it will tell you needle-free. I don't know if there's many other things, but needle-free injection device. Boom! It will tell you the actual code. Actually, if you see in the bottom, it's telling you what it is. So A4210 says needle-free injection device each. How many do you give the patient? One, right? A. So A needle device. One. Okay. So A4210 for the thing and 99213 for the procedure. Yes or no?
Yes.
And again, with this, I don't know if you understand. I'm not saying that you need to understand every single thing. You do not need to know all the procedures. If I say a procedure, you don't need to know what it is. You don't need to know what it means. Actually, you don't even need to know how is it correctly spelled. If you write something that looks like what you're looking for, the computer will take you to what it is. Okay? But you need to know what you're looking for and put it in the back of your head all the time. Is this a procedure or a thing? Example of things: shoes, crutches, wheelchairs, medications, ambulance ride. Those are things. Procedures: surgeries, evaluations, anesthesia, labs. Those are things that we do. I just don't want to use the word thing twice. So some are things, some are things that we do. Some are procedures. Okay, so procedures or things. This was fun. I think I'm good like that. Okay, here it says something really interesting. Okay, it says Medicare reimbursement is not guaranteed. What does that mean? It means, we just talked about before, that some of the CPT and the HCPCS level 2 are not payable by Medicare. Okay, Medicare may also place qualifications or conditions for some payments and services. So, if we get to the point that something is not paid by Medicare, what is the next thing what is the first thing that comes to mind if you hear Medicare did not pay?
The advanced, I think earlier you said it was the advanced beneficiary notice.
Yes, that's it. Okay, if it's signed, congratulations, you can bill the patient and you can bring that money back. Not in the file, not signed. You're gonna get in trouble because at that point you cannot bill the patient. Okay, no advance beneficiary notice, no payment from no one. Okay. Oh, you do have an advance beneficiary notice. There you go. Then either payment by Medicare or the patient. If you have the document Medicare pays, good. Medicare paid. If you have the patient pays nothing. If you have the document and Medicare says no, then you charge the patient. One day, you guys are going to be faced with this question in the day that you're taking your exam, and hopefully you'll remember me saying, no advance beneficiary notice, no payment. Advance beneficiary notice, charge the patient. If Medicare said no.
I have a question. Sorry. Is there a way? I think in one of the classes we had before, they showed us what codes are payable and not payable. Is that on the ICD-10data.com thing, or
no?
Another...
No. Remember, ICD. ICD.
Oh, those are just for the diagnosis.
It's for diagnosis. Okay. So CPT is for the one that has the charge.
Okay, so where would we find, like, if they're billable or not billable?
They're gonna be in the CMS.gov. I already showed you that page too.
Okay, yeah, I remember. Okay.
But but now let's put them together. Okay, so your question is a great question. It's really valid. So the CPT is the one that has the money attached to it. Okay, the CPT has a price. Okay, how much are we gonna charge? Okay, and the CPT, for whatever reason, so CPTs are all CPTs can be paid. Okay.
Okay.
All CPTs can be paid, but they have to match a correct and proper ICD.
Right.
When you saw in the ICDdata.com that this is not a billable code, it means that if you apply that code to a CPT, the CPT will not get paid.
Understand. Okay.
Because you need it to be more specific. So usually that's what it is. This ICD is not specific enough for payment of a CPT.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes, got it.
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Again, and for everyone. Again, having conversations with individuals here, I like it, but for everyone to hear. CPT, I'm going to write it again. I think it's important. CPT, okay? Brings some money. ICD says, yes, you should pay that money. So the correct ICD match with the correct CPT, money. A correct CPT with an incorrect ICD, no money. Another example is the one that I always do. So a patient is getting an X-ray. So CPT, whatever for an X-ray, right? It's gonna pay $100. Example, right? The patient has ICD of fracture. Okay. The fracture does not change the amount for the X-ray. The fracture makes the X-ray medically necessary. If I have X-ray, if I have a fracture and then I do an X-ray, that's normal. Yes, pay $100. If instead of having that ICD, I put an ICD for pregnancy. Okay. The CPT is still X-ray. The amount is still $100, but pregnancy does not go with X-ray. There's no reason to do an X-ray on a pregnant female. Actually, you shouldn't. So, no payment. Yes? That part is simple? Understood?
Mm-hmm.
I hope. I mean, yes. Okay, I got a few yeses. Okay. Now, let me erase all of this. Okay. Now, this patient, the ICD is for a heart attack. Okay, so it's called STM myocardial infarction. Those are the acronym for a heart attack. Okay, we are going to do a chest X-ray to check for problems with the heart. This heart attack diagnosis makes the X-ray medically necessary. Correct. We agree. But I want you to see something. The ICD for heart attack and another ICD from another patient for a fracture, both of them are okay for the X-ray. But I want you to see something. If a patient has a fracture of a pinky, the X-ray is gonna be $100. If the patient is getting a X-ray for a heart attack, it's gonna still be $100 because the ICD does not change the price. The price is what it is, and it's attached to the CPT. So X-ray for your broken pinky, or X-ray for your heart attack, or X-ray for your broken head, or X-ray for a broken back will pay the same. So when she was asking billable if the ICD and the CPT match, yes. Payable is a different thing. Okay, if they match, you can bill it, and it could get paid. But the price will not change depending on the diagnosis. The price is what it is, depending on the CPT. And CPT and pricing, you get it from CMS.gov. ICD.com is an example, but you also have that in CMS.gov. So for the CPT, you could get pricing, and for ICD, you get something that will say billable or not, depending if it's specific or not. I want to make that clear. There's a lot of things that I'm going to repeat over and over again because I want you to remember those things are really important. So you'll see that will sometimes you say, I remember you said something. I like that. So you want to see what gets paid and what's not? Medicare National Coverage Determination Manual, Medicare Benefits Policy Manual. Where do you think you can find those? In the same place you can find anything else, CMS.gov. Okay, Centers for Medicare Services. I said that CPT and the HCPCS 1 or the CPTs and HCPCS 2, both have things that are non-listed procedures. Okay, so that means that there's a thing that just came out in the middle of the year, and we don't have a code for it. So we will be able to bill for it if we do an unlisted procedure code. But you can imagine that the documentation for that will be extensive. And we mentioned it already with the CPT or the level 1, same thing with the level 2. It is a lot of documentation, like explaining exactly what happened, and 99% of the time will not get paid, just so you know. And I want you to think about something. I'm going to say something kind of as we are going forward. We are not going to get everything paid. And it's not the end of the world if you don't get something paid. Now, we strive for getting most of the things paid, but some of the things are not going to get paid. You can try to find whose fault is it. It's not a good exercise. Whose fault is it? The doctor doesn't know how to bill. I don't know how to bill, or they send me the wrong doctor. It doesn't really matter. That I don't care about that. Most of the claims should get paid. Some are not going to get paid. What you should do is make sure that a super tiny amount does not get paid, and that it is not because of a stupid mistake. Sometimes the mistakes are preventable. So that's sad, because then it's less money coming to the office, less money coming to you, to everyone. If you're working on your own and you open your own billing and coding practice or services, you get paid a percentage of what the doctor gets paid. So if you made a mistake and got it denied, the doctor didn't get paid, but you didn't get paid either. So you need to make sure that you get really good at it, but at the same time, you know when to let things go. Okay. Another little example. We have patient underwent close treatment with manipulation. So I'm gonna make sure that we're ignoring this. We're not looking at it. I don't know if you can still see it. It doesn't really matter. Patient underwent a close treatment with manipulation. Okay. Bimalleolar ankle fracture, left. It's telling you what modifier is going to be added. Okay. So I do not care about the code now. Okay. I do not care about the code. I'm asking what level 2 modifier is added. Okay. So remember, the modifiers for level 2 are going to be anatomical. Okay. They're going to be conditional. Or they're going to be anything extra. Okay. But here is giving you two options. Option number 1, or letter A and B. Now, you don't need to know that these are HCPCS level 2. Okay. You need to know that we're asking for a modifier, and we're giving you the option. There's 2 modifiers there. And I mean, I imagine already you already know what the modifier is. But if you don't, you go to the thing and it says left. Okay? And there's 2 options. One for left, one for right. So which one are you gonna get? LT, A, or left? Let me do it a little bit different. Let me actually pull for it. All of this, garbage. All of this, oops, garbage. All of this, garbage. All of this, garbage. If the question says modifier left, actually all of this is also garbage. Look at all the meat that I took out of the question. Modifier and left. Without giving you the options, by now you should know it, because I've said it so many times, that the modifier for left is LT. If you say modifier for right, RT. The rest of the question does not matter. Isn't that crazy? Whenever you're doing these questions, there's going to be a paragraph. There's going to be a story. You're going to put names. Okay? Patient John Smith, doctor, whatever. Dates, times, Medicare Part A, Medicare Part B, at the doctor's office, at the hospital, with referrals, with whatever. And I want you to focus on the words that are important. The only 2 words that matter to answer this question was left and modifier. And immediately you should select LT. Understood? This is a good exercise on understanding the questions, because your exam is going to be questions like this ones. Okay? Now, I'm going to clear the whole thing, and you're going to see how much crap you had there. How much those things are going to confuse you. Because if you start looking at, okay, so patient underwent, okay, that's a little bit of garbage. Okay, but close treatment with manipulation. Okay? Close treatment with manipulation is a procedure or a thing?
Procedure.
Procedure. It's a treatment. It's a procedure. So it's a CPT code, right? Excellent. Then it says bimalleolar ankle fracture. That is a procedure or a diagnosis?
Diagnosis.
That's a diagnosis. ICD 10 cm. Okay? And then they're asking you for a HICPIX. They're not asking you for any of those things that they just talked about. All of that crap. And then they gave you the actual code. So you start thinking, oh my God, now I need to get a code. No, the code is right there. And again, you don't need the code for that. They started the story with a CPT. In the middle, there was an ICD, and then they ask you for a HICPIX. No, I'm lying. They're not asking you for a HICPIX. They're asking you for the modifier for the HICPIX. This is a typical question that is not complicated at all. It's the simplest of the questions, but you could get completely overwhelmed by how much information it has, information that you might not need. But if you don't know, and you freak out, and you focus on this number, and then on the ankle fracture, then you go crazy, and it's not. And the options, the only things that you have is 2 options for 2 modifiers. Cool, maybe not. This is how we're gonna practice when we practice for the exam. We're gonna break down the questions to the core of the question, to its components. Are we almost done with this? Jesus Christ, we are. What time is it? Oh, it's almost 8 o'clock. Okay. HICPIX level 2 coding topics is the most challenging, yes or no? It's a question for you guys. What plan would you implement to ensure that you have a firm understanding of how to assign level 2 codes? My suggestion is that HICPIX are not hard. They're just because there's so many things in it, and there's not like a super structure that you can follow. You need to practice those more. CPTs, they are a structure. If I say CPT for X-ray, you will go to radiology. If I say open heart surgery, then you will go to surgery. If I say E and M, you will go to the first, to the 99s. If I say it, so it's kind of like an easier way to follow. HICPIX level 2, because there are so many and there's so many things, it gets complicated. But there are less codes than the CPT, so that makes it a little bit easier. And the modifiers are horrible for all of them. My suggestion is to know where they are. So the book is going to have all the modifiers. Some books will have. Let me see if I can get you real one quick. And I have a really old CPT book here. But yes. most of the books, I'm going to just show you the first page, okay? Not the first page. This is a book that is hardcovered, okay? Actually, 2014, but it doesn't matter. As soon as you open the book, look, you open the book. On the hardcover, the first thing that you're going to see, and your books are going to be the same, is symbols and modifiers. So when you're doing the exam and they ask you for a modifier, you're going to go to that first page. You're going to open your book and immediately you're going to have all the modifiers there. Okay? And you have the modifiers for numbers, the modifiers for anesthesia, the modifiers for hospital outpatient. And then the level 2, they're also going to be there. So you have a table with the modifiers and their names. And the appendix where they are. So appendix A is for the first modifiers, appendix whatever for the other modifiers. So you can go immediately. You open the book. But now you need to know this, okay? These are things that you need to know. Because if you're going to go through the exam and then start looking and, oh my God, where do I look? No, you need, those are things that we're going to practice later when we're actually practicing the coding. We are going to make sure that you know what the things, where the things in the book are, okay? So if you do not know where the things are, there's going to be a problem. Because if I give you a book, CPT book has roughly 1,000 pages, and you don't know where to start, and you start flipping page after page after page to figure it out the day of the exam, that's going to take forever. But if you know that in the cover of the page, or it depends on the book that you have, our books are a little bit different, but there's a page that it is, you should know what that page is. Modifiers, they're all here. Let me see. And then imagine this. I ask you for a modifier, and this, let's go back to this question. I can do this really fast. We have this question, and it says modifier level 2 for left. I open the book and I go without actually looking for a specific part of the book. I'm just looking at modifier by modifier. And I go, these are 22, 23. These are all numbers, all numbers, all numbers. This one has P, P's, again, numbers, whoop, left, LT. It took me 5 seconds maybe. And in 5 seconds, I already got it. So that question, it took me 10 seconds to read it, 5 seconds to answer. I can put the book aside and go to the next thing. And you don't need to know a lot to answer that question. Now you need to understand what is important from the question. Just like you need to understand what is important, like what is the main terms of the little story that they're giving you. Yes, no, maybe, understood? Excellent. Okay, so last few things here, because this chapter is done. Key terms related to coding. Again, key terms is the most important part. The purpose is just built for things, not for procedures. The organization of it. You saw that we have the HECPICS first, and then the 4 major things, including modifiers at the end. Documentation and submission requirement for reporting. The more complicated thing it is, the more document you need, or more documentation you need. And then assigning HCPCS level 2 codes and modifiers. We're gonna see the quantities when we start doing the practices. Quantities will be like a medication. How much medication are you going to give? So to give you an example, for medication, they're gonna do it through what we called I'm using the wrong book. Oh, I don't have it here. So it's gonna be can I show you? It's gonna be units. Okay. So for example, if we say I gave the patient for example, 10 cc's of a medication, that could be 1 unit. Okay, so it's based on the normal amount of a medication for a patient that is 70 kilograms. So if someone, again, this is how we do our medication, and we could do a little bit of math. Let's scare you a little bit. A patient that is 70 kilograms will get 1 pill of medication. Okay. Now the patient comes in, and the patient is twice as big, so it's 140 kilograms. So you're gonna give twice, because the patient is twice as big. We're gonna give twice as much, so 2 pills. Does that make sense? Simple math. Now let's bring a patient that is half of the first one, 35 kilograms. So because it's half, you're gonna give half a pill, whatever. Maybe you can, maybe you cannot. But remember, you're not giving pills. You are documenting what the doctor did. Okay? When you're documenting, an example will be for a patient that is 70 kilograms, that will be 1 unit. Okay? So a patient that is 1 kilogram, we give 1 unit of the medication. You do it like this, 1 unit. So how many units for the patient that got 2 pills? Then 2 units. And then for the baby, half a unit, whatever. Okay? So now let's complicate it a little bit. And instead of putting 1 pill, I'm going to say that it's going to be in cc's or in mLs or whatever it is. Okay? Nothing will change. Okay? Look at this. For a patient that is 70 kilograms, I'm going to give 125 mLs of medication, cc's of medication. The one that is double, we're going to do double that, so that will be 250 mLs. And then for the baby, we're going to give whatever that is 62.5 mLs. The units won't change because the unit was for what was the correct amount of medication for a patient that was 70 kilograms. So if I give you more medication, more units, I charge you more. You pay me more. If I give you less medication because you're a baby, a tiny baby, then you give me less money because I gave you less medication. It was cheaper. Is that something that you understand? That's something that you're getting? Or is that something that scares you even more because it has a bunch of numbers there?
Yes, less medication for the babies.
Less medication for the baby, less units, less money. Remember, we are not giving medication. So as coders and billers, we are billing, we are charging for. I got you. Listen, I got you.
Yes, less billing for the baby, not giving medication. Sorry.
We're not giving medication. Yeah. So I don't know. 4th of July is coming. We're gonna do a party. We're gonna go crazy. We're gonna drink beer and I don't know, and grill some chicken. Okay. If I say that we are going to say that half a chicken, this is kind of crazy. Half a chicken is going to be 1 unit. Okay? So everyone that eats half a chicken is going to be 1 unit. So if you eat a whole chicken, so 1 chicken instead of half, 1 chicken, that will be what? 2 units. If you have a chicken and a half, okay, so that will be 1, 2, 3 units. Remember, what we set for a 70 kilogram individual is going to be a unit. If you give more, because the patient weighs more, or the patient just got more, okay, we gave anesthesia to a patient, we need to give more anesthesia to the patient. Well, more. So the more things we give, or the more things we do, the more money. In the medications, we are gonna check for quantities. Simple. Babies get less, bigger people get more. If you're a giant, you're 7 feet tall, 400 pounds, then you will get more medication than someone that is 100 pounds, 5'2". So whomever is getting more medication, we should charge them more because they're getting more of a thing, and that thing converts into a HCPCS level 2 code. I mean, I think this is simple. I think this is, yes, don't you think? Maybe, no? Okay. Right. We have more people here. Hey, some people ask where? Well, I don't know. Just go back to the, let me show you the HCPCS real quick again. I showed you last time, so you get it. I understand it's not a little complicated, it's a lot complicated, but as soon as we start practicing, you'll see that it gets like, oh, this is nothing. Okay, let me see if I can find it here. I'm gonna show you CMS.gov first, and then the HCPCS again, just to show you that that you can find HCPCS and CPT codes in both. So let me open it properly. Yeah, this is not gonna let me open it, but I can open it the other way. We'll have to do this. You'll have to go here. Okay, let me show you this one. I showed you this one yesterday. So come on. So I already showed you this one yesterday. Okay, and this is just in a specific order, A, B, C, like alphabetical order. Okay, and then commercial payers. Yeah, I don't know if I show you this one. DMEs. We talk about DMEs. Okay, look, wheelchair, but no. Okay. I mean, can you see my screen real quick? I didn't ask you. I'm sorry. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
You should. You should be able to see it. Yes. Okay. Standard wheelchair. Okay. Lightweight wheelchair. High strength. Ultra lightweight. Heavy duty. Like, think about that. Okay. Let's see what a standard wheelchair is. And is this one? It is still effective. And look, there's a pricing indicator code. Okay, so it's giving you a number. How are we gonna pay for it? So again, that will translate to a specific price. So this is the standard. Let's go to extra. Let's do a heavy duty one. Okay. So again, Oh, this is rental. Yeah, it has a capped rental. Wow. So no, he cannot do this one. Okay, so extra heavy duty. And again, it has a capped. Wow. Interesting. Again, that's not. So again, all the codes, it will give you the specific description. Okay. And then we can go to the motorized ones, lightweight motorized one, detachable, adjustable, like every single thing that you can imagine. I will be here. And again, some codes will tell you like this. Like this one, supply allowance for geographic continuous glucose monitors includes all supplies and accessories for 1 month supply, 1 unit. So this is like the example. What? Wait, there you go. Oh, is it? I clicked on it. Let me do it like this. Let me draw on top of it. So this is kind of the same thing that I said. So in this case, it says 1 month of supply is 1 unit of service. So before I said that like 1 pill for every 7 kilograms is 1 unit, or whatever. This should be anything. This could be like 125 mLs equals 1 unit. Okay. So if I give you 250, then that will be 2 units. So here, 1 month is 1 unit. 2 months will be 2 units. Okay. Even though here it says I terminated, that we don't use it anymore, but it's an example of one that has units. That doesn't mean that we're gonna charge more or less or whatever. It depends what it is. Okay, and the units are going to be, they're gonna have a specific number. So the example here, 1 month supply of every supply needed to check the glucose was 1 unit. If you get a second one, it will be another unit. And look, terminated December 2022. So let's see. I don't know what they're doing now. They have to be probably doing the next one. For example, something like this. Okay, repair of whatever it is. Okay, of durable medical equipment. 15 minutes will be 1 unit. So if they spend 30 minutes or they charge for 30 minutes, it will be 2 units. If the other ones that have units, if you see anything that has units. And again, you have terminated. So if you're trying to use this code, it's good to always check if they're still valid. Let's see if I can get the. So what I'll do, I will go to the modifiers. Okay, J modifiers. Oh, no J. Check those. There you go. So this is the one that have to do with DME, for example, prosthesis. So now we're saying, hey, this individual is getting a prosthetic leg. Okay. In this one, it says, my bad, that it went out. It says functional level 0. Okay. It's a prosthetic leg, but it's not used for movement. Okay. So you cannot stand on it. You cannot like just, it's just to so you can see it. K1 will be for the same prosthetic device that we said, but now this one says, hey, it has the ability for transfer, for ambulation, or then more. I think level 4 is the one. Yeah. And then, for example, level 4 will be, or K4 will be that prosthetic in the lower extremity is more than ambulation. So you can run on it, basically. You can run and do exercise on it. So those are 3-4 examples that you have different type of modifiers for a specific thing, and it's and they're all the same. You have to go to prosthetic, then it will tell you look for the modifiers, and you look, and then it will tell you K0 to 4, and then you start looking. Is it going to walk on it normally? Is it going to run with it? Or is it going just to move? Or is doing nothing? And that's as you know, again, simple-ish, but at the same time, it's you still have to read it. I'm trying to get another one that has units. These L's are for the arteries in the heart. So L1, not here. LC is for the left circumflex coronary artery. LD is for the left anterior descending coronary artery. Again, you don't need to know the actual anatomy. You need to know that there's a specific modifiers for specific anatomic parts. And then these two are part of the heart. So it's kind of simple if you think about it. Left circumflex, left, in this case, anterior descending. So what I'm saying with this, you don't need to memorize them. You don't have to. If somewhere says that and you need it, then you know what they are and you can get them. If you're working at a doctor's office that is a cardiologist, for example, yes, you're gonna memorize those. Okay, you're gonna memorize left circumflex, left anterior, left main, like those, for sure. Okay, but you don't have to memorize them. LT, RT, if you haven't memorized it yet, then I don't know. I don't even know what to tell you. Let's do Q real quick, and with this one, I will let you guys go. There you go. Any questions? I know it's a lot. I know you're looking at it and going like, what is this? This is too much. But any there you go. That's what I wanted. Any questions so far? Again, you don't need to memorize. You don't need to understand most of it. You need to have a sense of how this works. So when we go to the book, you'll be able to understand. Here we go. We get to super specific information. Okay. We are going to have a fracture. The fracture digit on your foot. So your left foot, the second digit, is broken. So we have a fracture of, and we could say medial fracture of the, distal phalange, left foot, second digit. Remember when I showed you the ICD code, where specifically, like, exact, the tip of your left toe or your left second toe is broken. Super specific ICD 10TM code. I need a super specific CPT code, but CPT will not tell me left or right. So you have to do LT, RT. But now that's not going to tell me which of the toes is broken. With these modifiers, I'm telling you that the second digit is broken. Not the great toe, not the third, not the pinky, the second, or the third, or the fourth, or the pinky. On the left. On the right, well, same thing. Great toe, second digit, yada, yada, yada. And then TA here is great toe of the left foot. People, if you do not understand it, I don't want you to, think that we're going crazy or anything. I want you to just know that these things exist, and you might be able to recognize them when you see them, and kind of, know a little bit of what's happening. Not gonna keep you longer than this. We finished the chapter. We practiced a few, and we saw examples. This is a complete class for sure. Let me just check who is it that I think it's Liz that I'm missing. But I'm gonna just double check. People. Mirta's here, Kamika's here, Marta, Christian, Jaili, Monique, it's Lane, Anisha, Michelle, Liz. Liz is not here. Frank, Andrea, Sanders. Sanders is not here.
I'm here.
What do you mean?
I'm here.
Where are you? Where's Sanders?
Did you say Candace?
No, Sanders.
Oh, sorry.
You're Williams. I'm sorry. The thing is, I see your last names first. So Parker is Parker, Williams is William, Jackson is Jackson. Kamika, I don't know why I just say Kamika, but everybody else, I just see your last name. So Sanders. This. Okay, Vanessa's there, Jariel is there, Candace Williams is there. Right, Jariel is there? Yes. Okay, cool. So that's it, people. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Have a great weekend, and next week, a bunch of things are gonna change. We're gonna have Cengage, we're gonna have the NHA accounts, we're gonna have books, and we're gonna have homework. So enjoy this last weekend of no homework, and we're gonna get right to it next Tuesday. So if there's nothing else, I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Thank you. Good night. Excellent. Thank you. Good night. Thank you. Same to you guys.
Una pregunta, profesor.
Dale.
La prueba de esto son 100 o 150 preguntas.
150.
150, ¿a qué tiempo?
3 horas.
Está fácil.
Es un poquito más de 1 minuto por pregunta. Yes, same to you, thank you.
Ok, perfecto.
La mayoría de los exámenes así de certificación son 1 minuto por pregunta. Para Medical Assistant, para el Board of Nursing, para USMLE, para los médicos. Pero como este incluye buscar código, es un poco más. Que buenísimo. A veces tú puedes buscar un código en 30 segundos.
Sí, es aprender a buscar en el libro.
Exacto. Pero son 150 preguntas y tienes 3 horas para hacer.
Ok. Gracias.
Dale, no hay problema.
Vaya.